Okay. Hello, everyone. I think things are working fine. Let me quickly check. Yes. Okay. It's live on YouTube now. So for those who are watching us right now, like quick +1 in the chat. Okay. Already. Oh, I can see a lot of people already waiting to see Shan, right? I don't know if you have already checked the profile. Some of you are like, I don't know who he is. I know, but then I haven't met him. We'll have Shan on the channel very soon. Till then, not the usual setup. Yeah, it's the usual setup only to some degree. I have taken classes in that. But then it's just a podcast, so it's really great to have someone who is doing really great in CP back on channel. And I think the man, the myth, the legend. Okay, everybody is long time no see. I have been on time, but let's get him in. Okay, so I hope all of you have seen the profile that has been added below. It's Dominator069 joining on the channel. It's somebody I think highest rated probably from India at this point in time. Let's give it up for Shreyan. Yes. Hi Shreyan. How's
Hello.
everything going?
Yes, everything is going fine.
Okay. So I don't know how many of you know this or not, but Shreyan is right now in second year in IIT Kharagpur, and like he is at this point in time India's CF highest rated coder, right, Shreyan? And
Yes.
I have been like following. So I haven't been doing CP much, but I have been following how people are performing, and I do see leaderboards once in a while. It's really good to see someone like throwing up really good discussions, creating contests also on blogs, and also performing so well in contest. Yeah, so he and we all want, obviously everybody in the chat probably wants you to be the first LGM from India as well. So we are all rooting for you in
Hopefully
that
soon.
sense. Yes,
Hopefully
hopefully so.
soon.
Yes, yes, he's in second year. Yeah, for those who didn't know, he's in second year right now. He has. So I think we'll talk about his ICPC journey also. You had your like first attempt this
Yes.
year, right?
Yes.
So we'll talk about that as well. But then let's start with your journey, right? So Shan, maybe a quick introduction apart from like just your name, where you like which year, college, what you have been doing, a little quick introduction about these things.
Uh, I am currently in second year. I am in IIT Kharagpur, and I am doing the mathematics and computing course over here. I still do not have any future plans as of such. I will just see what happens, I guess.
Okay. I think probably like it's just introduction, please, from him. Yeah, that's the sweet and simple introduction. No, like he's just performing so good. I think at this point in time, I talked with Shayan. He hasn't like, thought about the like placement, internship scenario, all these things at this point in time. But I think let's just give him a really big round of clap for at least being up for the sport that he's being in, right? So, Shayan, let's start discussing a little bit of your journey because from what I understand, you have had a little bit of history before your class, like in your class 11, 12 for IOI, and then you went into college. I think you also went into IIT Kharagpur, parallelly managing all these things because I know others who were doing IOI generally go to colleges outside because in India it's very hard. So let's talk about your journey from the start, right? So when did you get into like CP? How did you get into CP in your school days?
So first of all, my school had computer science as a subject. Like they did not teach much. It was in Java. Like we were taught in Java. We were only taught the basic things like how to take array, how to make arrays, how to take inputs, for loops, etc. But still, it is a good foundation, nevertheless. After that, there was an inter-school competition which our teachers had signed up for. None of us had any idea about competitive programming as of such, but we went there, and it was my first contest basically. And one of my classmates actually was very much into competitive programming already. He had been doing for quite some years for then. This contest was in class 12, like starting portion. And basically he was a master already, and he was trying for Olympiads. In fact, he barely missed one time. He was fifth in selection, and only the top four people would go to IOI. So it was a bare miss for him in class 11, and then he fell sick in class 12. So it is pretty sad for him. uh, but he introduced me to competitive programming through like that competition, and then he introduced me to competitive programming, and he taught me all the like basic fundamentals, whatever I need about it. And then that is how my journey began. Following him, I came to know of the IOI Olympiad that is there, and I did not have any hopes to go to IOI at that time. But I was just giving. I was finding it interesting. Therefore, I was trying to become better at it, and I was practicing problems. Uh, Eventually, somehow, I managed to reach there. Uh, eh, at that time, I used to like dedicate most of my time outside of coaching, outside of going to coaching, to competitive programming. It is probably not the best idea for my JE, but it is okay. Uh, Anyway, after that, ZCO happened, and INOI happened, and then IOITC happened just after JE. In fact, after JE, the day JE ended, JE advanced exam happened. The same day, I had a flight to Chennai, because IOITC was starting exactly the next day. And there I got second place, and I got selected to go to IOI. After
Nice.
that, my college,
I think so. So IOI you got selected in class 12, in 11th or 12th?
12th.
12th, right?
I
Okay, so
started in 12th itself.
got it. Okay, got it. Nice. So that's a phenomenal growth, right? I mean, so I'll just quickly present your like CF profile, and I know that like it's a like dangerous profile to look at in it for some people at least, right? So if I like zoom on to like this, so probably you were in your class 12th in your 2022 to 2023 journey, right? This part.
Yes, yes, yes.
So by the end of your like this was the time when you would be sitting for ZCO, ZIO, all these competitions.
Yes, and but IYTC was in May or June.
Okay, in
June
May,
actually.
June. Okay, got it. So by that time you were 20, almost like master in CF, and
Yes,
probably
yes,
you were at that level of solving questions too. Got it. Nice. And for that matter, I think you were already solving for good amount of time in your day. I mean, I don't know how much JE prep you were doing, but then to reach this, I know that you need to be solving questions at a very very good rate. So
yes.
probably five six problems. So what was your routine like in that case? How did you balance this?
Oh, as I said before, most of the time I was like outside of coaching, like I was just catching up to the coaching, whatever was being taught. But I was spending all of my spare time into this, and I wasn't that much distracted back then, so I had a lot of spare time.
Got it. Nice. So that's pretty good. I think
Actually, to
one
give
more.
you an example,
Hmm.
for this is not definitely not good practice, but some ZCO mocks, some INOI mocks used to happen in the exact time on Sundays, and Sundays we have coaching obviously, because
Hmm.
Saturdays and weekends. And so sometimes I used to give them from my phone, sitting in the coaching, uh, like uh, trying to do whenever I had free time over there.
So okay, I'll talk about that separately, like which coaching and stuff. I think probably we went to similar things because you're from Kolkata as well, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So we'll talk about that separately. But then I think let's go forward with the journey. So I think by the time you were already good. So now when you came to college in first year, you were already a master, and in KGP, like you would already be going through this phase of going to grandmaster phase and all, right?
Yes.
So, what was that phase like? I mean, I think in first year, so there is very little pressure in KGP. I mean, if you don't have
Okay,
that high
so
goals.
yes, so IOI was actually in my first month of my college. It was like in exactly 1 month in. So
Okay.
first I was practicing for IOI, and then it didn't change much. Like my practice routine, still used to practice, and uh, so at the similar time only. It wasn't much different compared to school. The studies loads wasn't much different. I guess I could even call it lower. It definitely lower actually.
Yeah, I mean,
JE
JE
is
pressure, JE is way harder than
JE is
college
way
thing.
harder. Yes.
Yes, right. Yeah, so I think somebody is saying that every GM has used phone for their coding at some point in time. I think this is true. Probably I should also start. I mean, the reason why I might not have gone into that, obviously that's a different reason. But then I think I should also start using phone for coding someday because that's the key ingredient. It feels okay. Let's next talk about a little bit of your ICPC like this time, right? Like this time you went for ICPC. So what was your journey around that? Like,
So at the beginning, I did not know many people in campus. I contacted a senior to get to know about. I contacted Rishit Singhania about to get to know about what happens in ICPC, how to go to ICPC, etc. And he was also looking for a teammate. In fact, one of his teammates had graduated. So they were two people, both masters, and they were looking for a teammate. So I would be a good fit, and so I decided to team up with them. Then we went to the online round. The online round we finished fourth. Then there was the Chennai regionals first that we actually did not qualify there. We had 15th place, and yes, but after that there was another regionals Amritapuri. We came first there, winning by a problem. So that was much better. And then so we skipped Asia West because we came first in the regionals, and then we went to World Finals recently, like last month, and it was an extraordinary experience. I got to meet Mike, I got to meet Tourism, Andy, all of the people, all of the pros, Peter, Igor, all of them. And after that, we did not do too well in that contest. I think we finished 59 globally, even though we are first from India, which is kind of a shame, but it is what it is. One thing that is sad is that, especially like even more in school, because nobody is even leaving aside the fact that nobody knows about competitive programming, people do not even pay importance, because I'll tell you what colleges we get as free, like what colleges we can get. You can get triple ITH, and you get IIT Gandhinagar and CMI, and that's pretty much it, I think. So it is pretty sad that there aren't more colleges that pay attention to competitive programming, like any Olympiads actually. Even the IMO, IPHO, all of the Olympiads are not paid attention to. That's why there isn't that much hype behind it.
exactly. I think in school it's very rare that you get to even know about like coding. I mean, I never knew about it altogether, and I don't know anybody in my knowledge who knew about it. Like except for people who directly got good in IOI. It's probably only when your parents are say in software engineering, or you have somebody who is already like in like college, you're some elder brother or sister in your college, and they tell you about CP, and then you start. I think that's the only way you can kind of get to know about these things.
Yes,
But I think that is some.
that is pretty much the only way. Like even I did not know till class 12. I like barely got to know in the last year. So
Hmm. I think like the only way it can change is possibly more awareness in like school days, and I
more
think other
awareness and
countries.
like rewards, just getting awareness. And but if it's useless, then why would anybody want to do?
Hmm.
It is not that
Right.
most of us, like a lot of us, do not even go outside. Like at least one person, at least there were two class 12s this year. One of them is going to triple ITH. A lot of us go to triple ITH because it is still a good institute within India.
Yeah, I mean, Triple ITH has one of the best, like one of the good track records itself, and I think going there itself sorts you with the opportunities part at least. Yes, I think that's true. I mean, there is no college and engineering help if you do CP.
Hmm.
That's just not enough what I got. Yeah. Yes. So somebody is saying that somebody is saying I got AIR 9 in INMO and I'm sitting in a private college and there is nothing much to get help from. Yeah, I think even for Maths Olympiad, if you don't make it to ISI and CMI, then there is nothing much of like uh,
Hmm.
there to help you. This is one sad thing about India because colleges should have more provision to like grow these fields, and probably that's how we can get more medals in ICPC going forward, right? I think a lot of students ask me, Vivek, why is India not getting a medal? Because people we are competing with are starting in class sixth. That's why we are
Hmm.
probably not getting medals. Okay, that is something that we have to change as a structural thing in our curriculum structure, right? Okay, I think let's move to a little bit around like prep and resources that you used, right? I mean, I think a lot of people who are sitting here would also want to know, ki, Shreyan, what all resources did you use? And I think since you had two phases, once in your school and another in your college right now, like you are already at red phase and you are practicing probably at fairly, I would expect 2600 to 2800 rated problems, 2900 rated problems on on CF. That would be like a zone where you will improve. So I think let's talk about your school days. So you got a really sharp growth in 1 year of your school days. What resources did you use then?
Okay, so I'll go by timeline wise. Okay, so first of all, I started in August 22, and I started off with Code Chef. For some reason, I don't remember the reason, but that was the first site I started with. I was giving contest and I was practicing. I used to pick up I used to take the difficulty range. I started at like 1300, 1400, 1500 in that range, and then I used to solve the problems whichever felt good in that range, just trying all of them. And eventually mainly my main issue with Codeforces contest was that it clashed with a lot of my coaching, while Wednesday was free for me. So that was a good thing. That's why I could give Code Chef initially. After that I moved to more After that I moved more to Code Forces. As you can see, like October onwards I was more only Code Forces mainly. I used to practice from there. I used to give ad coder beginner contest, which was useful in my initial stages, ad coder beginner contest. And then two resources especially that were useful is that one is CACS, because it has so many good resources, so many good problems, and especially the book alongside it, CPH book, which is also very useful, and it teaches you all the techniques you need to know for solving the problems as well. And then the other resource was the USACO guide, which is a very useful guide. It has like all the topics, and it has relevant problems as well. It was one of my favorite websites then. Now I know most of, like, at least up to platinum part. So after that, like once I eventually it was, I knew all the techniques, most of the techniques at least. Learning part, it was mostly done in the first 5 6 months maybe. After that it was more of problem solving. uh, in I still used to read the occasional, like some occasional blogs used to be helpful to me. Like for example, there is a very famous FFT blog by Is This FFT, which where he has 10 small tricks which help a lot. That is a very useful blog. I can probably link it. uh, then learning wise it was fine. Then problem solving wise, I used to give regular contests wherever I could, because giving contests is honestly one of the best way of improving and up solving the contests. Like whatever you're being able to solve, and just solve one or two more extra of whatever you can. Sometimes reading editorial if you need to. Better to not read editorial, but if you need, like if you're stuck for 1 2 hours, then it's fine. Even now you can see that every contest I give, I try to upsolve the next 1 2 problems if I can, if I have time. I think I can do it in most, I do it in most contests only. After the mainly I was giving contests from different websites like Codeforces was my main primary site where I used to practice. I just used to pick up problems from my rating range plus 200 or so. Like it used to, where now it is much harder to solve plus 200s. Now I just try for my rating itself. uh, but initially I was doing that plus 200 plus 300, and I used to give a lot of contests. At coder is very useful, especially the regular contests. Grand contest is too hard even for me now. Where last grand contest I solved zero problems.
Because there are like a lot of good maths and ad hoc techniques involved in those questions.
Yes, yes,
So
it is just very hard. It is just a very hard contest. It is like it is suitable only for high IGM and LGM people.
mhm,
Otherwise you will be able to solve one maybe two questions at max.
yes, yes.
Anyways, after that, that is I didn't really have any, like there were some more sites that I used to practice on, such as USACO, and I did a few Olympiad questions. At the When I had qualified for IOI, there was a 2 to 3 month gap, so I used to practice Olympiad questions in that time. I just used to pick up the problems from oj.uz and then solve a lot of them. But other than that, that is how I practiced and all.
Right. I think some people are asking for things like this, like what are the things that he mentioned? I'm probably noting them all down, so don't worry about it. Like for an example, I just sent like a note, quick note to everyone. So he mentioned CSES, which is I think one of the best sites to like collectively learn techniques of one topic, at least for the start, and then you can learn new as you go on. Usaco Guide is probably one of the best places to start if you are a beginner.
One more thing, CPH, the CPH book.
CPH book, the CPH book. So CSCS, if you go to the, maybe I can like we can quickly show them, because I think many of them
Hmm.
might be beginners and are starting out right now. If that is the case, then this should be super helpful. So I'll just go to CSCS site. So here you can see the CSCS problem set, and then I think you also have an access to book somewhere here.
Book is not here. If you just search for CSES CPH book, you will find it.
Yeah, okay, it's not linked on the size. CSCS certified book,
CPH book, CPH book. Okay, it is
CPH, yeah.
down. Yes, yes, this one only.
So this is the link, this is the books that you can go through, and probably this, even the second book that is mentioned over here is really good. You can have a look at this as well. So this is the book, this probably has like very good
Yes,
structured
yes.
material on everything.
Hmm.
Okay, then what he was mentioning was this FFT blog by
This is more like advanced. This is a collection of small tricks which is useful. I like it is an
uh,
example of blogs that I found useful. I have used
hmm.
it at least 5 to 10 times for sure.
Yes. So what he's talking about is even he was doing the same thing. Probably what I'll just summarize this. I think I'll just put it in a certain way. So what he was doing was he was learning topics, and he was learning like good. Whenever you find a good blog, what does a good blog teach you? It shows you 5 6 different techniques or application ways in which you can apply a certain technique that you have learned. And once you see that for any topic, then the 8 problem starts flowing naturally. That probably this is
Hmm.
how you connect it to one of the problems you have solved before, right? So this is what like I think anybody, even including me when I was starting, when there was not much of videos and stuff, was probably doing. And this is how you need to start. Shan, how is your maths so good? I think this is one question that even I would probably think about. Did you sit for RMO and stuff in during your school?
Yes, so I did. I was doing math Olympiad at initially. Like in class 9, I was really trying for it. I qualified till INMO, but I did not clear INMO. But after that, my interest, because I got to know just like it was a big. I wasn't able to even touch a single question in INMO, and that kind of demotivated me at that point. So I pretty much just gave up on math Olympiad, and I was just again just give IOQM and get qualified to INMO and then not be able to do anything. But in class 12, there were two problems which were both CP like. So I was able to solve both. That's why I qualified in class 12 because they were CP like. So it was kind of like CP helped me in math that in more at least. But yes, I
Yeah.
had like a decent math background beforehand because of practicing for Olympiads.
Yes. So I think this is also one thing. Like, if you see this sharp growth, I think probably maths also contributed a lot in that growth, right? I mean, even though you were not technically doing CP, the problem solving angle was building as you were doing the RMO maths, right? I think that is one thing that I often feel people miss out. Ki if you are just putting in Olympiad maths, time into Olympiad maths, probably like your CP also gets to improve a lot, right?
Yes, especially I would say combinatorics because like combinatorics is very similar. Like some problems in CP are very similar to combinatorics. They can be interchanged. It has happened before that a problem has appeared on Math Olympiad and it has also appeared in CF.
Yes, yes, true. I think combinatorics, if you prepare for, but it's exactly the same syllabus to some degree. Like,
Not exactly like CP has some other like complexity parts. Like you won't find anything like prefix sum, segmentary, complexity optimizations in
yeah,
Math Olympiad. But yes, otherwise.
yeah, true. Right. So these are the best resources. I think like there
Can you
isn't
also
any.
open the UACO guide? That is
Yeah,
really
yeah, sure, absolutely. So USACO guide is one resource that I think everybody should start. I think if you are a beginner, just start with bronze level, right? That is
yes,
probably the
yes,
best place you can start with. And I think it's a very good blog plus some question kind of structure which you
yes.
can directly follow to solve anything, right? And I think anybody who's asking for resources at this point in time in the chat, please, if you just solve this Usako guide for the starters, you shouldn't be asking for more resources. This is enough for anybody to start and just start learning. I think Indians are very very good at collecting. We just sit down and try to collect more
Yes.
resources, as much we can. Please download this book, download this course, download, enroll into everything. No, you just have to start with one and just solve things. Okay. What is combinatrix? Combinatrix is a topic of maths for those who are new. Okay. On to next question, which is we are going to talk a little bit about uh, like what do you practice now? Like how do you choose practicing questions now?
Okay, so I'm still currently doing Codeforces problems only. But the ones that I do now are very old. They are getting old. I should switch soon. One useful thing to practice is AR for my level is ARC level problems, because they are doable while still very interesting, and there is a very big archive over there. But code forces problems are also have a long, like there is lots of problems on code forces which are relevant still now. So I'm still practicing mainly from code forces, but I plan to switch to AdCoder soon.
Got it. How do you improve on ad hoc and constructive problems? I mean, the problems where you would not see a topic, rather just it's more about proving, or I think naturally maths might help a little bit there. But then, like, how do you suggest someone to improve on that angle? Because I think a lot of Indians generally are good at practicing topics and eventually get good at, say, topics like segmentary, DP, graph. I mean, people eventually get good at this once they practice enough. But then I think Indians are still struggling a little bit with ad hoc and constructive problems. What would be your suggestion to this? Because I think I have seen a lot of journeys by now. People are able to do the other topics if they spend time, but then still Indians are facing this issue of working on ad hoc and constructive. What would be your take on that?
So basically, uh, so when you solve a problem, one of the most important thing is not just to know the solution. That is one thing, but you must understand how I could have come up with the solution. That is the most important thing any problem teaches you. Not just okay, the solution is this. Why does it work? How can I think of it? If you're given the same problem, if you're given the same problem, not you should be able to solve it. Not just the same problem, but a problem where the same similar technique is used. Like it's not the copy paste, but you should be still be able to identify the core techniques that you use. I think if you look at like even ad hoc problems, you will find that you can divide into main steps, and like if you go stepwise and you divide the steps into you can it is not pretty similar. Like some of the steps are pretty creative and inventive, but at the same time you will find that there will be eventually like patterns in the steps of what you need, what direction you need to think about. One difference I guess is that ad hoc problems, it's more about like the problems are similar in direction and not in techniques. Basically, like there is one very useful thing that is like I'm just giving an example here. This is not something that will actually come in a significant majority of problems, but looking at last element, for example, like looking at last operation, this sometimes helps. And so the direction is there. Looking at last something, what happens at the end, that is your direction. Now the thing, a specific thing might be different. So practicing definitely helps here, because you will get to know more of these things, and you can think more in these ways. I also actually have a blog on I picked up 7 problems, and then I showed how my step by steps thinking about it. I think it will be can you link it over here? Should
Yeah,
I
sure.
link it?
So you can keep talking. I'll just open it up. It's on Code Forces, right?
Yes, yes.
I'll just open it up. So yeah. So
So I think in any problem, it is always useful to go step by step, not this lower. Most problems will be solvable step by step. Yes, this one. I admit that
nice.
some problems are pretty much just guess the answer. I admit there are definitely such problems, but I think that some most of the times you can find a proof which is not very hard. And solutions where goes, one of the most useful thing, like there are several, mainly three distinct criteria I think you can go about it. One is greedy stays ahead, which is basically arguing that any greedy solution is optimal. Use is showing that you can change a non-optimal solution to the greedy solution. Then these are all well documented, so I'm not elaborating on them. Then there is exchange argument, which is very useful. Exchange argument, if you have to choose an order of elements, then you can use exchange argument directly and get the order sometimes. And then there is induction. Induction is one of the, like, induction is pretty much you have to know the answer to get to it, so it is not that useful for getting to the answer, but it can give you a proof. So those are the ways how you can prove your solution for ad hocs, at least.
Yes, I think these are some things that I've also seen, like structural argument, greedy stays ahead, and like uh, exchange argument. I think these are the three most standard greedy techniques or ideas that probably comes in this. And then what you were saying was, okay, looking at prefixes or the last prefix sums or last elements or these kind of ideas that are repetitive in, even in ad hoc problems, right?
Hmm.
So I think these
You
are
can
the
check
ways.
the general solving strategies. Those are, I think, very useful. Like the
Hmm.
yes, that part. Like these are pretty helpful advice for like solving problems.
Absolutely, I think all of the readers are.
Actually, one of the most important things here is the fixing parameter and then trying to maximize the result with respect to that parameter. I'll give a very simple example. We all know maximum subarray-sum, Kadane's algorithm, and all. So what is maximum subarray sum? It is just a difference of two prefix sums, right? Like we want to, if we take an ij range, then we want to maximize like prefix sum I minus prefix sum j minus 1. So if you fix I, you just want minimum prefix sum j minus 1. And so you can, if you just find out minimum prefix sum in that where j is less than I, that is done. So it is like fixing parameter is one of very useful tool to solve problems, I think.
So essentially,
Then
which one do you loop on, and which one do you like kind of store in a data structure or some sort of thing, sort
yes,
of
so
that thing?
I loop on, and then j I stored in a data structure.
Got it. Makes sense. Yes, you are mentioning something more. Yeah, I think this is a really good blog. I didn't see this blog before. I'll anyways link. So for all of people who are somebody saying, Shan, please come on. India's got latent. Okay, do you know about this? No, I
India's
think
what?
latent. You don't know, right? So, guys, he's a
No.
computer programmer. He's not Samay Rana fan. Please don't like ask him to do these things. But then, probably like these are good blogs. I think I have read the AI one that Shan had written. So make sure that you go through his blogs. I'll link everything that we are talking about in this stream. I'll send all the links on the Telegram channel after this, right? So that those
Oh
things would be
yes,
there as a notes.
one very useful thing like stress testing. You, it is pretty much like a, it is pretty much a hack type thing. Like you can just get the wrong answer case. We everybody makes bugs, and it is hard to figure out the bugs manually. But if we like, if you are fast enough with the, if you're fast enough, you can code a stress test in 5 to 10 minutes at most, and then you, for most problems, and then you get a wrong answer case, which is very useful. I find it very useful. And in one contest, I actually stress tested three different problems. Three different problems in the same contest. I was making a lot of bugs that day.
Nice. Shan, just a quick question. What's your typing speed? I mean, I think you would be doing typing practice also on other side. So what's your WPM?
It is currently around 90 to 100 on monkey type, not the comma, the full stop ones. So it, there
Got
I'm
it.
more say 70ish or 60ish. I'm not sure.
Got it. Yeah, I
But
think
yes, I'm,
in normal one you'll be like around 90, 100, right? I mean, just
yes,
English
yes,
small cases. Got it. Yes. So for stress test, for to be able to write stress testing and like things faster, I think typing just helps a little
yes,
bit.
yes. It does help
Yeah.
definitely.
Yes. And I think I don't know if you've seen Shayan's code. Probably he writes very clean codes also. That also helps a lot. I think you
Yes,
can star
I
his.
think I used to write pretty bad codes at the start, but then I decided, like, I made the decision to write clean codes because it just looks better, and I think I have some degree of OCD for sure. So yes,
Got it. Got it. Okay. Okay. So I think that's there. Let's now talk a little bit about the blog that you wrote over here, which is around AI, right? I think that blog I had read, but then I just want to know your take because I think like a lot of people are asking around a lot of different things. I'll take the questions at the end, but before that, few of my own questions that I wanted to just discuss with Shreyan, and I think it should be helpful to you all. uh, I think many students feel a little bit stumbled that should they even do CP now because AI is out, and I think there's a lot of debate around what should be done, what should not be done, what should be allowed in contest and what should not. Probably like when you think about lead code contest, right? Weeklies ones, I think probably till the third problem AI can solve if I'm someone smart and if I know a little
Even
bit
the
of.
fourth, sometimes,
Yeah, sometimes even the
sometimes.
force. Yeah, I just didn't want to say that, but then okay, not to discourage anybody here, but yeah, I did a live stream and I was using GPT that day, so it solved all four problems. I had to put it out because I didn't want to like send a message that it's solvable with all that. But then sometimes even the fourth. So what do you think? Like, what's your take on this? Like, what do you think is going to happen, or what is your take on the AI scene altogether on this CP?
I think like AI has improved a lot recently. Like I did not expect it to move this fast, but it still is seeming to be improved on standard problems mostly. Like it is better. Obviously, it is better, but it is like it has become a lot much better on standard problems, and that's pretty much the issue that is occurring in lead code contests or div 3s, div 4s. Basically they have a lot of standard problems which AI can easily identify, but at the same time I would like to say that it's possible to avoid such problems. For example, in a recent contest like coordinated by Satyam, he made sure that even B wasn't solvable by AI, and it is possible to do all that. So I just want to put the thing is the standard problems AI has become a lot better at standard problems. However, I do not think like depending on the contest, AI should be allowed or banned. Like for example, it is not fair to have it in it is not fair to have it in div 3, div 4, or maybe even div 2. But at the same time, it is fine in div 1 or ARC AGC because AI can barely solve A if any. So that is mainly about the allowing, and I think it is pretty much there. All like that is the rules everywhere. Yeah, like it is not allowed, or at Coder allows it on ARC and AGC.
I
And
think
other than
I
that,
think I think at that level though everybody has that tool to themselves and anybody can use it to generate code and rest of the thinking you have to do yourself only like the
yes,
like
yes,
people who are at that level.
it is just an implementation tool basically.
Yeah.
Other than that, I do okay. So one thing is that I do not think people should be discouraged because of the cheaters, because like there always used to exist Telegram. You still can use Telegram to cheat. It is pretty much like it is hard to stop, obviously. And so it is pretty much in the same scenario because AI is at par with Telegram cheaters for now, I think, or maybe even lower higher a bit depending on the contest, but it is at the similar level. So there is not as for improving AI, like there is some claims that maybe AI will reach grandmaster. If it did reach grandmaster, I think we would have bigger issues, like not CP ending. That wouldn't be the first issue that we would have. uh, I do not think it will reach grandmaster in the near future because it still hasn't improved on the ad hoc problems, I think so. Like it has improved but not to a substantial extent. So I think it will still take some time at least, but let's see. It has improved quite a lot.
I think before before like thinking about CP and all, like the AI will come for our breads. So I think it's not much of a concern in that case. Like if something becomes a
Hmm.
GM, for sure. Okay, so somebody asking, will it be part of interviews with AI coming into picture? I think we'll keep interview and job related questions off for this stream because Shreyan is also in second year right now. He's still preparing for internships and placements. He'll have his own journey, and probably once he's done with all this, maybe we'll have him back on the channel and discuss around that. Okay, what does a GM feels when they go through internship placement drives? Okay, but then for now, let's keep it more to oriented towards CP and DSA, right? Okay. I think we have gotten good questions. So what's your plan for ICPC, right? I think this year you had an attempt at ICPC World Finals, but then World Finals has two attempts for every person, right? So what's your plan now?
Yes, so I do not plan to give this year because as you said, World Finals has only two attempts. So I plan to give on third year or fourth year. I'm not yet sure. Like depending on I want to be LGM before I give for the second time, because it is hard. Definitely, there are a lot of strong teams in the world.
Yeah, that is definitely there. So, did you guys came the first in the Asia West regions? Like there is a prize for that also, right?
No, we did not. There was actually a much stronger. We were beaten by two teams actually. One
Okay.
was Iran team, which was really strong. They solved two more problems than us, and then there was another Bangladesh team who beat us on time.
Hmm. Got it. Got it. Fine. I think the Iran team is really strong.
Hmm.
Okay. मुझे अपना टीम मेंबर बना लो. So everybody wants to be team member of Shan. Maybe we'll have a Shan fan club someday in India, and then everybody would be changing it to Shan fan club, just like I think we had for another person. Okay, I don't know if everybody in the chat follows these things on CF or not. Okay, so now
Jiangli
I
did
think,
not, right?
yeah.
Okay.
Rest will be okay. So I think these are things that I had plans around asking for things. Somebody's talking about illu and stuff. Okay, okay, I can get a lot of, I'm getting a lot of questions. I'll filter it for you, Sharon, don't worry. I think there's a lot of things. So any serious resource for ICPC? So somebody's aiming for ICPC regionals and want to get qualified for world finals. What exactly to prepare in that case? Like what would you suggest for ICPC?
I do not think ICPC is much different from Codeforces, except the problems are a bit more like algorithm based. So
Hmm,
basically, just practice Codeforces for one, and other than that, or practice all the standard problems that you can get, learn all the techniques and etc. So, for example, like you should definitely have done most of CACS and so on,
got it.
but it isn't much different otherwise. Like you can check the previous year problems and try to solve them. Those are pretty useful.
I think even apart from these, sit with your team and practice. Probably, I think that like dynamics
Yes,
of team playing.
team practice is definitely useful for ICBC, like because it is a team event and you have to practice coordinating the computer and etc.
Right, right. Do you play chess, Shan? Somebody asking.
No, not seriously. I'm
Okay,
something like 1300 rated on chess.com.
got it. Okay. How are these other teams preparing? How are they better? Why do you think other teams are better? Somebody asking.
Other teams are better because they are like better. There are lots of strong teams. What else? How are
So
the other
what?
teams?
So why do you think like? I mean, I think Shan is still young. I think he has like way more attempts left. But then, why are the other teams in ICPC World Finals stronger? What do you think are the core reasons? One is I think age when they start.
Age when to start is probably the most important reason. Like all the teams here are all like people who started in college, and they barely have 2 to 3 years practice, if any, if that also, because you take breaks in between exams and everything. So people have pretty low practice. How do you expect to become good if you like? How do you expect good results if you just have 1 to 2 years while the others have 4 5 years even?
Exactly. I think that
Like
definitely
it's
like
not
matters.
like you can look at Kshitij Sodani for example. He did for I don't know for 6 7 years or something, and he has very impressive results at IOI. He got gold medal twice. He was 13th or so in the first time. So it is definitely possible. We have talent, but there is no awareness and nobody knows. So there is no utilization of the talent.
Yeah. So probably don't those who don't know Kshitij, I mean, he's another person from the IOI world who like has now moved to MIT, but then like is probably the one of the bigger names in IOI realm. He has been like competing for a very long time. I think probably when even I was competing, he was in the ICPC regionals participating from school. So there is a school teams that get selected for representing in ICPC also regionals. So he was there, if I remember correctly. So I think like he has also had a similar kind of journey, but probably now you have beaten him on the rating part. No?
Mm. Now he isn't practicing. Like now he's
Okay,
probably busy with college and stuff.
exactly. That's what happens. No, like eventually people get busy with this. Okay, so who's one coder whose code you follow a lot? I mean, like just to refer to when you have to go back after the contest to
Jiang
see
Li.
codes. Jiang Li.
Jiang
Okay,
Li.
nice,
Yes.
nice. Nice. So next is, do you know Rajarshi Basu? I think yes, he knows.
No.
Okay, I think these are like older people comparatively, like way older years. Okay, retention of talent. Okay, what is the difficulty of? Okay, I think ICPC, like those who are asking this, probably online round. It's like contest only. Like you have to just perform.
It is like, I think it is similar to like Div 2, but even lesser problems. It has five problems, I think. It is
Yes,
pretty much
exactly.
Div 2 level.
So like if so, let's sort it out for the students in one question. Okay, I want to practice some random questions today. Okay, what would I be doing? I think from what I heard, if let's say you are 1200 right now, is it a good strategy to type in 500 to say, or let's say if you're 1200 plus 200 to 1200 plus 600, just simply apply the difficulty and start solving topics problems from here.
Yes, yes, it's definitely a good idea. And choose the recent problems more, because older problems are more unreliable and etc. But otherwise, it's a good idea depending on the difficulty. Sometimes like 1600 might be a bit too much for 1200. Like it
Yeah,
just depends. Like find a region where you are not well, like you're not being able to instantly solve the question, but you're still taking you some time. If you want to, like, what I would say is that take at least 1 hour to think about the problems, write down your steps. If you're still making progress, then you can continue. If you're making progress, then please continue and try to solve the problem. But at the same time, you can also choose to read the editorial then, because if it has been a long time, do not read it instantly because you won't get much out of the problem. After reading the editorial, it is a must to implement the problem, especially in the beginning side. In the beginning side, lots of people just solve the like, okay, I read the editorial, I won't implement the solution now because I've understood the solution and I will be able to implement it again. No, you won't. Please implement it. If you're thinking that it's hard, it will be even harder if you face it in contest.
exactly.
So yes, that is pretty much the idea that I would give. One thing is that probably using a better predictor than just filtering problem set, because maybe the recent problems you have already seen because they appeared in contests, etc. So you can use any external resource for that. There are lots of external resources, I think, which helps you, gives you a random problem.
Got it.
Other than that, this is fine. That's what I do as well.
Okay, people are stuck in a certain rating range. I think like a lot of people get frustrated when they get stuck at a rating range. Probably even you would have faced some similar phases. Ki I'm stuck at, let's say, master range, or I'm at expert range and I'm not growing. So what mindset do you think people should have, and like how should they tackle that?
See, participate in contest, and after that, wherever you got stuck, make sure that you won't get stuck there another time if that type of thing happens. That is the most important advice. Solve the problems, at least one to two next problems that you need to, because those are very important and will tell you, like, if you got stuck, you need to practice those problems where you got stuck. Pretty natural. And so if you read the editorial, if you need to, make sure that you internalize the idea, as I said before, that you understand how to come up with the solution, and you can come up with the solution again. So pretty much that.
I think somebody is saying, I know you people can't relate, but how to solve the diff 2D barrier? I think for a lot of Indian students, I know this, diff 2D is a big barrier. I think I also stayed there for a long time, and I think Shan also stayed that there for some time. I mean, probably it doesn't show up in graph that usual, but then diff
It does
2Ds are
actually.
like, uh,
It does actually. Like in the starting portion, you can see I reached expert really fast, and then there was some time where, like, I was in expert, and then after that, yeah. So in that region, basically, in the
yeah. So
October to January
this is
region.
diff 2D barrier essentially, yeah, altogether.
Yes,
So
surely.
you need to learn a lot of different topics. I think what majorly changes
Yes,
is there is so
that
many
is.
new topics.
Yes, A to C is pretty much just not knowing any topics, but after that D you need topics. So D is like, so one of the things is obviously the topics you need to learn, and other than that you have to, as I said before, you have to just solve the problems and see where you went wrong. If you need to learn a topic, learn it. that is pretty much how to do it. I think actually, can you show? Do you have any extension that can show my solve count?
Yeah, yeah. This, you meant to say this,
So
right?
just yeah. Just scroll down the solve count in the problem ratings.
Yeah.
So you will see that there was an even bigger spike before. Now it is more normalized at 1800 specifically, where I used to practice a lot of 1800s in the 1800 specifically. I just used to practice 1800s when I was stuck there. For a long time, I used to practice 1800s till I eventually crossed that barrier.
Okay. Do you see? I mean, I think maybe I'm also like learning in this stream. Probably like what Shreyan has been doing is like if he's stuck is 1800, he just solves 1800 till a point he gets comfortable, and then he moves to the next one and just builds the spike there, and then builds the next spike, then the next spike, and so on. And probably he has done that till 2600, and now he has moved to rating above it. So probably that's what is
Hmm.
working. If we like see it on the
Yes,
hindsight,
yes,
no.
yes.
Nice. Probably that's what, and I think a lot of students. One thing that I think Shreyan also mentioned, probably I was mentioning this 1 hour before when I was taking the class. Like I think it's absolutely that most people just try to increase the count here without thinking, what if I get this problem again? How should I have thought about it if I had to solve
Yes,
it? It's that exact one thing that differentiates people who grow and people who don't. Like,
yes, I agree. It is a very
okay,
important skill. Like if you do not do it, then you basically learn, like you didn't learn much from the problem. You just, okay, it increased my solve count.
exactly. Probably if I have to think about topics, 3D maths, DP, nice.
Topics is not like, it's just
That relevant, yeah. No.
no, not really relevant. It just shows what is common on code forces.
Yeah. Okay. What is the okay? What is the maximum toughness gap? What is the toughest band you felt? Like what was the toughest range that you felt to break? I think probably maybe master or grandmaster.
uh,
This one.
like grandmaster, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
There were three different ranges, I think. Like first was the expert, then the master, then the grandmaster.
So how did you crack the master to grandmaster? What do you think differentiate? Like if you had to pinpoint, I think know it's obviously a practice only in that also. But then if you had to think about key, these are few things that I think did right that helped me go to master to grandmaster.
I can't really like, I don't really have any specific things. It was pretty much the same thing.
Got it. Got it. Cool. Okay, so I think we have talked about which extensions are you using. I think there's a video on my channel. Please watch for extensions. I think a lot of things these are there. I'll talk more about Shreyan's lifestyle now because I think that's something that is interesting. People would love to know about it. How's your sleep schedule, Shreyan? What's your sleep schedule?
Uh, usual Usually I sleep at around 2 to 3 a.m. Sometimes I miss the first class of college, and sometimes after that I do not go for the other classes as well because I missed one, so why not miss all of them?
Okay,
Uh,
good.
but sometimes also like the earliest I can sleep is probably 12 or maybe 1. But other than that, sometimes it goes as far as 4, I think, but not more than that.
Nice. I think that's the usual schedule anybody like who is doing coding decently enough has in college because you have to have that night time, no, to keep practicing.
Yes, yes,
And also most of a contest also happen till 8 to 10 or 10:30,
yes,
something like
yes,
that,
yes.
right? Okay, shall I do exercise? Students are asking, so I have to ask those questions.
No,
Okay.
no.
Okay. So do you know about rainbow? I think obviously he knows about rainbow,
Yes,
no?
Rainbow, obviously.
Yeah. I don't know, like, so you guys are asking these questions
I
assuming that
met
he's,
Rainbow. I
oh,
met Rainbow. Yeah, in
okay.
IOI.
Okay, you
He's a
know
really like,
rainbow?
yes, I think he would be like top 10 to 20 if he did contest seriously. He's definitely in that range.
Okay. Okay. CG. Okay. Nobody. No, I'll not ask him his CG. Why do you want me to ask him his CG? I think you'll still have good. I think. Chalo, Shreyan, 8.5 plus. Yes.
Yes,
Okay. I
yes.
will not ask more questions around that. How many hours do you practice? Usually, I think maybe 5 6 hours probably, Shreyan.
Yeah, on average, I would say maybe. Maybe
Yeah.
now it has become less, but at the initial stage, I would say it would be that much.
I mean, during ICPC phase, I think it will be around 5 6 hours easily.
No, not really. Like the phase
No.
was mainly before IOI and all. After
Okay,
that,
got it.
it is lesser. On the like holidays, I do practice a lot, I think, but other than that, not that much.
Okay. Should I start Olympiad maths now? Does it help in improving in CP? Because observations aren't coming to me naturally. Do you think somebody should look at a little bit of Olympiad maths if they want to improve on CP?
Looking at a bit of Olympiad math is probably useful, but at the same time, I think just looking at CP would be more useful. Like Olympiad math does help, but CP is just more useful to get you better at CP.
Okay, nice. Shan, do you have a girlfriend?
Yes,
Okay, nice, nice. I'll not go into details. How often did you see editorial? So obviously, like when you started, you had to see editorials, no?
yes, yes, yes. Even now, sometimes I look at the editorial depending on the problem. So I would say that I would look at the editorial maybe okay, so out of the problems that I used to practice, I would say I would look at the editorial. I would solve it myself around 30 to 40% of the time initially, and then I would look at the editorial like 30% time, and then for another one third of the time, I would just skip the problem completely. Okay, maybe not one third. That is too high, but okay, so I would say 40% editorial, 40% solve on my own, and then 20% I would skip. Like around this much, I think it would be. Like
Nice.
skipping the problem is more of a decision that I do not want to solve this problem, despite like whatever its solution might be. I can't really explain why. I just did not like the problem. Maybe
Got it. Shan, why is this fox in your profile pic? What's the story behind
it
this?
is cute, pretty much. That's it.
Okay.
There was another person from India called Everrule. Both of us kept fox. I don't think he still has a fox, but yes, that was red panda. It's precisely.
Yeah. Got it. And what's the story behind Dominator handle 069?
Uh, okay, so Dominator is my game ID. That's why, and I
Got it.
misspelled my game ID when I was 12, and so I've kept the misspelling. And
Hmm.
069 is actually taken from another guy who had it in binary, another Indian guy only, but he is not very well known. And I don't know. I was childish.
Got it. Chalo. Nice. Uh, what would you say the difference between your thought process and a master versus you at GM? Yeah. So, like, I mean, yeah, I think what Gaurish is asking is actually a very good question. Even I would love to know. Ki, what change do you see yourself from the version of yourself in this rating range? I mean, like when you were over here probably, and now when you are over here. Like I think it's practice. Like how I'm not asking how to go there, but what do you think has changed in you when you see a problem?
Okay, so first of all, like ideas come more naturally to me. Ideas come a lot faster. I think I'm really much fast. Like my speed, especially on like the harder problems, has improved a lot. Okay, so what has happened right now is that I'm being slower on the medium problems for myself, and while I'm faster on the harder problems. So I think that like I have improved on the harder problems, being able to solve them fast. I think I would still be able to do the problems when I was master, but I would take a much longer time, and that longer time is like 5 6 hours, which can't be given in contest, obviously. When I look at a problem now, I think I am just like I see I see the general technique behind what the structure of the solution will be in easy problems, at least what the structure of the solution will be, and that really helps me.
I can like even like I think it's not fully formed answer, but I think like I get the gist. Like what you're trying to say
Yes.
is essentially
Like
it comes
even
naturally
if
now.
even if I do not have the solution idea fully formed, I have the general approach of how to approach it pretty much faster.
Got it. Okay.
Like all problems, I think I would like all problems that I solve nowadays in contest, I think I get the approach, the general approach, in like 10 minutes, and then I'm mostly figuring out the details on how to actually come up with a solution. But the approach I get really fast, like the route to the solution.
Got it. Got it. Do you use social media, Instagram and
Yes,
stuff?
who doesn't?
Okay, so maybe so somebody's asking people who is on Instagram. I don't know whether that will be a public account. Obviously, might not be. So, but then still, maybe
It
you
is a
can share
private
that.
account, obviously.
Yeah, yeah. So, like, if you want people to follow you, maybe
No,
people
no
want to connect.
need.
No, 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 no need. Yes. If you want to reach out to Shan, you know his handle now. Reach out on message on Codeforces. I think he would be fairly active there also. And people who are serious would reach you out on Codeforces only.
Mm.
Yeah. Why didn't you give Meta Hacker Cup? I think this is also an interesting question.
Okay, so basically, I'm not a big fan of the Meta Hacker Cup format. I think there are several issues with it, and also I'm not a big fan of the problems either. Last year as well, I did not like any of the problems. That, like, what I've heard is that they save like they save all their good problems for finals, and they do not have good problems in the other rounds. For me, Meta Hacker Cup is not much different from a normal round. I do not have a real chance to be top 25, even if people think I have a chance, because it is really really hard. And like Rainbow barely finishes in top 25 sometimes. That is how hard it is. So it for me it is pretty much of a competition for getting a T-shirt, and I did not want to involve myself with the. I did not want to give the contest for the bad problems and and I really dislike the format. Like, if you know me, I still use CodeChef ID as my main problem solving tool. Like, I do not have I have Sublime Text, but I use it only secondary tool. So obviously I cannot even use CodeChef ID, which is pretty annoying. Like, doing stuff locally is like I can do it, but I do not like to do it. And Meta Hacker Cup often has issues, etc. Like, for example, the if people might pass with an extra log because they used XYZ optimization technique, or it barely finished in time. The, I just don't like the format, and therefore I did not want to give the contest.
I understand what you're saying. I mean, this is actually true. Question and part, I think for everybody else, it's still good questions. Please do solve them. What Shan is talking about is from his own reference, but then what he's saying is like there is a lot of disparity in solutions. I also don't like that. Like recursive solutions for some.
Somebody even posted, like, somebody posted solving it in RC to the power 4, n to the power 4, where n is less than equal to 800, and there are 50 test cases, not even bounded. So it is pretty much hilarious. Just
Exactly. So I understand what he's saying. Like that, like when you are at that level, it's just like another contest for you. You not do want to do it for T-shirt, and then 25. Though I know it, like it's the different level altogether.
yes, yes,
I think probably in some years, I think Shreya, like over years, you'd want to be in the 25. No, like in 1 year or
yes,
1.5 years from now. I
yes.
think 1 year from
Obviously,
now. Yeah,
maybe, hopefully,
yeah. I think Dominator also happens to have a lot of contribution. So, like, I think one thing I'd request all of people who are like on the stream. I mean, if you are reading his blogs and stuff, do like interact and upvote it up. I see Dominator on the top contributors, right? Have you seen that on like as of now? Yes. So recently,
yes,
just for those who don't know, so he's also on the top contributors list. Do vote his blogs. I think he has written really good ones. That is the AI one I loved. I have read that. Okay, I think like I'll not keeping awake whole night. I think we'll come to the end. Few more last few quick questions if there is any other ones that is there in mind. Can anyone reach master? Do you think? Acha, okay, last this one question. I think many have. Do you think everybody? It's possible for everybody to reach master if they put in the effort and practice, or is there some ingenious like? Uh,
I
I would
think it
say
is because I think it is possible for 90% to reach master eventually, but that eventually might take long. I think it is more reasonable to reach expert or candidate master in like 3 4 years, if you, or even lesser. Depend, like 3 4 years is absolute limit I would put on somebody reaching candidate master or master. Like, they should be able to reach then if they practice a lot.
right. Sounds good. And I think all the next questions we have almost covered. When will you start content creation? I think let him compete. No, why do you want him to start content creation? Still in the sport. Why do you want him to get into that? Someone asking, what is your expected IQ? Have you tested IQ, Prashant?
I have, but only from online resources and all. They are unpredictable, and I have basically gotten responses in 120 to 135 region.
Okay. Nice. Okay, I think like we have talked about a lot of things, but thanks everyone for joining in. Thanks Shan for also joining us on the stream. I think a lot of students would get perspective. A lot of people would get the awareness about IOI from this also, and they understand that it's super important to promote that. If like I also am like starting, I'm now in a position where I can start contributing a little bit to school side and like to sponsor students and everything. Probably like eventually I'll do more of those things, and probably many more who are seeing these things would be able to do that. So do that obviously.
One guy
Thanks
is
everyone.
spamming a question. Let's just answer it. If IOI problem is in Codeforces, how much rating would it be? Since he's spamming it, I'll just answer it. Okay, so first of all, the full solves. Full solves. The main goal of IOI isn't to full solve, but anyways, the full solves would be somewhere in the difficulty range 2300 to 3500, and like half of them will probably be in the 3500 region. So it's really hard to full solve. But at the same time, IOI is has subtasks, and you're intended to solve the subtasks. So like the subtask will start from 800 itself. There will be trivial subtasks which you can just write 2 lines of code and get 5-10 points and all that.
Good. Someone saying you're the next 4 crore guy landing in over. So yeah, let's see. Let's his career journey. Let him flow in that. Like let's not pressurize him. But best of luck, Shreyan, for being LGM.
Thank,
First time, first from India, and we are all rooting for you on that one, right?
thank
If
you.
you need any help, anything, feel free to reach out. But then I think this will be it for today's stream. Thanks for joining in, everyone. We'll wrap it up. Any final words, Shreyan, for the audience?
Nothing. No. Thank you.
Okay. Chalo, thanks for being a lovely audience, everyone. Bye bye. Have a good night.